Hello friends, this video will be about my Oregon trip that I had like 1 year ago. So I just wanted to discuss my experience and the places I want to recommend to you. My trip was around the Oregon coastal area, so it will be mostly about the coastal places. By the way, right now the weather is sunny and nice in San Jose, California. As you can see, people are walking around, so yeah, it's kind of cool to see people around. Okay, so first of all, when I was planning my trip to Oregon, I was thinking about camping, and it was around like February. So basically in February you should forget about camping. Honestly, it's not the best time to go camp, but I was hoping that I can still get some places to camp, but it completely failed most of my plans. But let me tell you more about that. I was driving the I-5 highway, and I-5 basically it's like it goes inland, right? So it just doesn't go like along the coast. So that's why on I-5 there was no open places to camp. Everything was closed, everything was seasonally closed, and that was pretty much expected. I hoped to camp there, but yeah, it was not possible. There was no free spots, no paid spots, no campgrounds along the I-5 route. So instead of I-5, afterwards I changed my route to Highway 101. And on Highway 101, while it's cold and foggy, really foggy sometimes, most of the times actually, and on Highway 101 you can find camping spots. Not all of them are open in the winter, let's say, but you can still find those. So yeah, that's my recommendation for camping. If you're preparing to go somewhere in the winter for your Oregon coastal trip, you should actually plan it so that all the places along your route are open and ready to accept you. Let's go about the places that I want to recommend you to visit while on your coastal trip. So first one, I would say it's a Shore Acres State Park. It's a really interesting place. It has the Japanese garden, cliff views, ocean views. It's really beautiful. It's like magnificent views, so I highly recommend you that one, Shore Acres State Park. Second thing I want to recommend is the Astoria. You probably heard the town of Astoria. It's located on the border of Washington and Oregon states, and there is a bridge that divides those two states. Once you cross the bridge, you are in Oregon. So the first town you will hit will be Astoria, and it's quite interesting. They have the film museum there, and it actually shows you the history of the movies that were shot in the Oregon, and one of them is the Goonies. You probably heard about that movie, but we're not sure where it was filmed. Well, it was filmed right there in Oregon. It was filmed in Cannon Beach, around this area. So you should go check it out, definitely. So Astoria has some views of the bridge, some typical waterfront, and trolley. They have this film museum, and what else? Pretty much good places to visit. I like it. Yeah, why not? And nearby the Astoria, there's the Lewis and Clark Park, and that's a historical park that tells you about the Lewis and Clark expedition exploring this area. So basically it was the first American expedition that stepped on that ground, and it shows like what they had, what they discovered there, the experiences about this place. Also it has a very interesting fort. Fort is very beautiful, and I think this is the thing that you should discover. You should visit it. So yeah, this is a great place. Another thing about the coastal trip in Oregon is the lighthouses. Well, Oregon has 9 lighthouses, and I have not visited all of them, but I think it's quite impressive. And the one I especially recommend you visit is the Yakima Head Lighthouse. So it's a lighthouse. It shows I think you can actually climb the steps up to the lighthouse in specific days and times. I was too late on that day to actually visit it, but it's quite good. Also, there is a museum, and it tells the history of this lighthouse, how they work and stuff like that. So I think this is the one to visit. Another thing that you should definitely visit during your Oregon trip is Portland. Well, you cannot skip Portland, right? It also has a beautiful waterfront, beautiful park, beautiful downtown, by the way. If you plan to actually walk in the dark in Portland, be aware, because sometimes it's not very safe. Sometimes really weird people can approach you and say something really offensive to you. For example, to me, one guy approached and say, hey, if you want to go around this bridge, you better watch your step, because you can get shot easily or somebody will do something to you. Huge population of homeless people there, so be aware of that and be ready. But you should still visit it, because it's a great town. Yeah, I think it's 26th most populous city in the United States and the most populous city in Oregon, of course. Well, Oregon is not highly densely populated, but Portland is the place to be if you want to be around everything in Oregon, I think. The climate there is, yeah, it's a bit cold, chilly, so be prepared for that. Especially, as I said, if you go in the winter time, it's quite chilly there. So I think actually Oregon coast is a very nice place to be, especially during summer when you plan your camping trip, let's say, because you don't need to spend all your money on hotels and expensive places. You can just go camp, enjoy the scenery, because the scenery, I should tell you, I have never seen such scenery. I mean, it's just very impressive. It's super beautiful place. So Oregon is the place to be. Thank you for watching, guys. Bye bye, and please subscribe. Please be careful, safe travels for you, and be ready for more adventures.